As we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to
Oh
this
no.
week's live stream and ultimate retail arbitrage. I'm Todd Yakel. Jonathan's with me as always, and today we got a special guest, Cody Alvey, who's a new Amazon seller and has had some success fairly early, and it's impressive. And so we thought it'd be a great idea to reach out to him and see if he'd be willing to answer some questions. And he graciously agreed, and he's on with us today. Cody, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All
Absolutely.
right, so let's make sure. Jonathan, is there people that said they want to be tagged when we go live? Do you have yours up now or no?
Let me check it out. Let's see.
It never fails, guys. When once we're done with our live, there's comments that I missed. Okay, so wave harder, flag us down. Now, if you're watching live, hey, put live in the comments, and if you come back and you're watching the replay, type in replay. We'd love to know who's coming back and watching these, and are you getting value, and ask your questions. You know, we are an open book, and we answer as much as we possibly can. Okay, there it is. I know that William said replay. Phil,
Yeah.
I
William,
believe
Phil,
Andrew.
and Andrew.
All right. Well, let's get this going. So Cody, when did you start selling on Amazon? Why? And how did you hear about selling on Amazon?
So I've actually known about selling on Amazon for a couple of years actually. I've known about it. I've known about the fact that Amazon was 50-60% small businesses, normal people that just trying to get out of the everyday grind. And some people were making it, some people weren't. And it was always just this, well, I mean, is it something that I can do or can I not do? And so I took a lot of convincing from my wife to go down this avenue, and finally we agreed after my third kid was born that we wanted to go down this avenue because I mean I work a lot of hours a week. I mean I work 40 hours a week and I have 2 hour drive time each day. So I mean I'm putting in between 8 and 11 hours of work every day. Um, so I went down that avenue. I was trying to figure out the best thing to do that could bring in more money as well as um, give me some financial freedom, maybe even become my primary source and, do it on the road. Maybe we become an RV family. Um, so that was my primary thing that I was thinking when I was going through it. I started in early July. I started my research, and then my first sale was in the middle of August 14th to be exact.
August 14th. It's crazy how you remember that first sale. Mine was July 15th, 2015. So I don't know if you got excited as I did, man. I went out and bought more inventory immediately.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did too. We're just I saw it come through, and I think it was like for $12 or something, and I was just like, yeah, all right, well at least somebody cared what I put up.
It worked. It worked. Yes, let's do this.
So your wife, does she help you with this?
No, that's 100% me.
Are you allowed to talk Amazon to your wife? Because mine kind of shut me down on it. She's tired of hearing it.
At this point, she's still okay with it. She's still doing the wow. That's actually pretty impressive. Because it's we didn't think like it was going to grow as fast. I had set goals in the beginning of where I wanted to be at sales wise, not even profit. I just wanted to hit certain sale milestones, and my expectation was by the end of December I wanted to have $2,000 in sales, and I thought that was fairly realistic. I mean, over the course of my tenure as an audio video installer, I sell a lot of the stuff that I get from clients because a lot of them don't want like their older receiver and stuff. And on average, I sell like 5,000 a year on each day. And so I was kind of carrying those expectations over to Amazon. I knew it was more of an on-demand platform, and obviously the stuff's new, so it's easier for that to go down. But overall, I really did not expect it to go as fast as it has.
Well, let's share that real quick for the listeners. You said your first item sold in August. When did you hit the $10,000 in sales mark?
I hit $10,000 in sales October 16th.
October 16th. So
Yep, it was
September,
just
2
over
months.
2 months. Yep.
2 months. We
Man, you did the fast track. Yeah, that's what I'm
10K
talking
is
about.
10K is a great milestone. It really opens your eyes to the possibilities. And you shared that, you mentioned that in the beginning is to make extra money. And then you kind of talked about replacement money possibly. Was that in your mind before or after how fast you saw it take off?
In the beginning, it was a supplement basically. I work. My wife's a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 kids. Mortgage. We're loving the economy right now, so everything is everything's going good. But we wanted to make sure that we were set up right. I got an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-month-old, and well, actually, it's 3 now, but and they're all boys, so just food alone is killing me. So I wanted to just make something that allowed me to continue to grow and to keep pace with what we're capable of doing, and to go on the family trips to Europe, or to even take them to Disney World. We looked up Disney World last year and it was ridiculous. We were going to be $20,000 in on a Disney trip just for a week.
Yep. At
And
least
that's just, I mean, I make pretty good money doing what I do, and it's just that's not even feasible anymore. Like, that used to be like a normal thing you do as a child, and now it seems like it's only for local residents or wealthy people. There's really no in between. And I was like, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to do something different, that I can do something on my own that allows me to be my own boss, that allows me to continue to grow, and I can do as much or as little as I want. If I'm happy with, if I'm happy with making an extra $1,000 a month, great. If I want to scale it to $10,000 a month, great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And
go ahead.
And so when you started, you hit the ground running. I mean, how much did you start off with in the beginning?
So I started off with $300. That was my initial investment for product. And then I had my extra 150 that I set aside for my LLC, my tax ID, getting my articles of organization, basically all the stuff that I didn't need day one. I wanted to have it because as I did more and more research, I realized that it is a lot of work to become a 7-figure seller, but it's doable. It's 100% doable. You just have to have the right mindset, and you have to dedicate time. I mean, I put in probably about 50 hours a week plus at my normal job, and I probably put in about that on this as well. Maybe a little more.
50 hours a week just on the Amazon business.
Yeah. Yep. I'm constantly, and I go shopping probably 3-4 days a week. I'm usually in the stores from 5 till 9. Then I'm coming home and I'm researching my wholesale deals, and I'm looking up new distributors. Weekends, Saturday and Sunday, all day I'm prepping and shipping packages. Which I've gotten a little more refined with that. It was a little touch and go in the beginning because there's so many things you don't realize that you can do in a smarter way. And it's not really, there's all these YouTube videos and stuff out there that tell you like this is how you do it, but there's nobody that really like explains it and gives you a step-by-step on what are the best ways to cut time, right? It's not about saving money. I don't care about saving money. I've spent tons of money on making this easy for me. I want now to cut my time. I want to get my dollar per hour made from where I'm at right now. Let's just say it's $45 an hour. I want to get that up to 80 or 90. I want to cut how much time I'm investing into this in half so that I can continue to grow, because I know if I can cut the daily stuff down, I can spend more time sourcing and more time building my company. Because right now I'm spending so much time doing the day-to-day stuff and just keeping up with making sure that my back-end stuff, my accounting stuff, everything is in order. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. We actually recently, one of the reasons we started scaling our own Amazon business down is to help other sellers and create courses and create mentorship programs and things like that, and put all of our attention into that. But also we acquired a service business that was going, they were going to retire the business, and we actually used this for part of our listing management. And so you're talking about spending all that time and cutting time down on the back end and with your account maintenance. We just rolled out a beta program for account maintenance, and it's geared towards sellers that are hitting that 10K a month or higher, that want to save all that time. They hire us and we manage their account maintenance, but we also do all of these things for listings. When you get a lot of SKUs, like with RA and OA, you have issues. You have things happen to your listing, and it gets bounced off the parent listing, and we know how to reattach those and find the listings and match it up to where it'll sell faster for you. In theory, it works most of the time. Nothing's a guarantee with Amazon, but
yeah, I've noticed that.
But, we are geared towards larger sellers, but we can help smaller sellers too. But like you say, you try to find things, and you don't mind spending money to save that time. Well, there are lots of options. Once you get to that level, there are options to start doing things.
Oh yeah.
And so you say you spend that much time a week. Now what we generally tell people is a little bit slower of a path than what you took. You took $300 and you ramped it up to 10K in sales in 3 months. That's amazing. That's
2 months. 2 months.
2 months. Sorry.
Get it right. Get it right.
I didn't mean to do that. 2 months. You're exactly right.
Now, to be fair, okay, so your first shipment you sent in was $300, right? It started selling. Okay. What did you do after that? Did you add more capital to it?
So after every item I sent probably, I don't know, 10, 12 SKUs in multiple items in my first shipment, and I sold it all within 3 days. And I realized that like that this is working how I hoped it would work, right? I did enough back end research and enough of I want to say I did enough research on my side to allow me to figure out that it was kind of like, was it a fairy tale or was this a real life situation, right? So then once I realized that I could actually do this and I was selling stuff and I was making money, I just decided, let's go find a way to get capital. Like, right, what's the easiest way to get a low risk capital? And I didn't really want to go deal with banks and everything else and start paying interest off the bat and everything else. So I found a credit card. I use a Chase Ink card currently. And they gave me 0 interest for 12 months. They gave me a $20,000 spending limit. And since I already had all of my business stuff on the back end taken care of, I had my articles organization, I had my tax and sales ID, I had my tax exempt. I could go through and I could get that stuff fairly quickly. And I got approved within when you file for a business credit card, they don't tell you right away if you actually get approved. They have to do all their back end stuff. It's not like a personal credit card. At least it wasn't for me. And then once I got approved, I probably got approved within from 3 days after my original sale or my first sale. I decided to go down that avenue, and within a week I had my card. And since then I probably sent in about $15,000-$20,000 worth of inventory in costs since then. So it's definitely helped me grow exponentially. Like, I'm not waiting on Amazon every single 2 weeks for them to deposit my money, and then Amazon does this weird thing with their reserve, and you never really know how much you're going to get when it's getting closer and closer. So just hope that it's going to turn out how it has, and it's actually gotten better.
Good. Yeah, I know that they do hold your items, just in case there's returns or any issues. And from what they say is they release your funds 7 days after the customer receives the item. So customer receives
Which
the item 7 days later, they release your funds, it goes to your payout, and then whenever your next payout is, it's on that next payout.
which I thought was 100% accurate. That's what I was told through my research. But then, like, let's say I go online and I buy this wallet right now. I buy this wallet for $29.99. I get it 3 days later. I'm like, you know what? I really don't like this wallet. They took that $29 that they were going to give me, or the $19 they were going to give me from that sale, and they put it in my reserve account. But then when I return this, they actually take it out of my available funds. They don't even take it out of my reserve account where they put that money into. So, that was one of those things like that nobody talks about. Like, you don't actually, the way Amazon does things on the back end is so weird. And I mean, it's the largest company in the world for a reason, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of crazy stuff, and it's an ever-changing landscape too. I mean, it's
Mhm.
every other day it seems like, even with our service business, I mean, something new is coming up, and you have to alter this. You have to change a way that you go and find this information, or how do you process this type of thing? Yeah, things change all the time. That's why it's so key, in our opinion, to be a part of a group, part of something
Mhm.
that you can always stay up on what the new stuff is coming out.
Yep.
So, man, we're on pace to do about a 2-hour meeting here. Told you we could talk, man. So when you first started, you started with a $300 budget, and then you went and you got your card. Did you use any tools or softwares?
My primary tool in the beginning was YouTube. I did a lot of research on YouTube, and most of it was worthless. I'm going to be completely honest. There's so many people out there that just they act like they've sold $10 million on Amazon, and they really haven't. They probably don't even have a Seller Central account, to be honest. They're just watching other people, and they're just good at making a good business plan and a business model, and they know that nobody shares their Seller Central information. Nobody's posting pictures, and even if they are, you don't know if it's real. It doesn't say your name or your company name or anything on it. So when you're looking on these YouTube videos and you're seeing these people that sell, they say they're $10 million sellers, you're trying to follow their idea of how things should go, and it's really not realistic. So I kind of cobbled together multiple sources, and I watched a ton of different people. I got a lot of my ideas on what stores to source from some of those people. I watched videos on them going into stores and watching them, what they were looking at and how they were doing it, and things to make it easy for me to do it. And that helped me a lot. And then as time went on, I started doing research on different software tools. What apps do I use to scan things? Some people use the Seller Central app. I think it's horrible. I prefer scanning items. So I found other tools that allowed me to get in and out quickly. When I was doing my research, they're like, if you're spending more than an hour in a store, you're spending too much time in that store, right? You need to go in, you need to figure out what you want to do. You want to breeze through certain areas. You kind of know what you're looking at as you're going into these stores. Because I've gone into certain stores 25 times over the last 3 months, and sometimes I find nothing. Today I found 4 vitamin bottles that sell for $29. I bought them for $1.46 each on Amazon, but that's all I bought. I spent $7 at this store today, and that was it. And sometimes, I mean, I went to that same store 2 weeks ago, and I spent $280 on merchandise. So you never know what you're gonna get, and that was one of the biggest things that I probably took from those videos is you can't sit there and spend all this time and research and do all this stuff. I do a lot of my research after I purchase the items, back when I'm at home, and some stuff goes back to the store because it's not worth sending in, or it's not worth going through that hassle.
So what do you scan with now?
I use SAS.
Yeah, that's what we used to. So
SAS
awesome.
It is 100% my favorite. I looked into multiple different ones. Inventory Lab seemed really good. Seemed really expensive in the beginning, and I wasn't interested in spending a $50 a month price tag for it. And then there was BuyBot Pro, which I didn't really like either. And then the Seller Central app as well were the ones that I mainly looked at. And and there was, I think Scoutify was another one, but I wasn't really
For the Inventory Lab,
yeah. There was another one that allowed you to do a downloadable database. But that, I mean, most people just use that for books, and I didn't. That was another one that just didn't seem of interest for me. SAS seems great. It seems like what a lot of the people that sell hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars use to help them research. Plus, the Chrome extension works awesome.
yeah.
It is an awesome tool for me.
Is that what you use to do your research at home, back at home, when you said that you do your research after?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
go shopping? Yeah.
Yeah. And then now they just
tool. I mean,
introduced
it's very affordable.
well, and after their recent update with the buy box thing, that right there alone it's already probably made me more money than I probably could pay for my SAS membership for the next 3 years off of what it's just made me in the last 2 weeks. So
what do you have your criteria set at? I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Oh, no. I was going to say that new feature, and it's really, really cool. It allows you to see who's getting the biggest chunks of the buy box, which of those sellers are getting that, and you can see where you're going to fit in. And if that's just one extra data point that you can use to decide, hey, will that sell quick enough for me for the right profit? Well, I don't think so. Well, no, let me hold off and look for something else,
yeah,
feel more comfortable with.
Yeah, because you never know. Like I got really big with looking at like the 30, 90, and 180 day buy box pricing, average pricing, and stuff like that. And it doesn't really tell you who is winning it and how much they're average winning it for. And and then it kind of tells you, hey, Amazon's winning this 85% of the time. It's probably not something you want to buy, right? And now I know Keepa is a really big thing. I have not even created a Keepa account. I haven't even ventured down that avenue yet. I know that's really big with wholesale.
Yeah, you get a little bit of it with
yeah, I get it. That's why I haven't done it, because I can see the Keepa charts. I can see the sales rankings, and I can see how many offers there are. The biggest thing, and I think we kind of touched base on this earlier in this week on a post, is I just can't see the variations, right? I can't see specifically like, hey, when there's 14 variations on that item, what this one variation sells for or sells in the amount.
You're right. They're trying to use the reviews for the variations, and of course you hit the variation viewer button on Seller app, and it'll break it up. It'll even show it in like a pie form, and it's supposed to say which variations are getting the biggest chunks of reviews. And that way, okay, well, at least I know those are being bought because they're getting reviews on it. And the ones that don't have any reviews at all, you're kind of like, okay, well, I don't trust that. I don't know exactly if that variation has been bought at all. I have no idea. So
yeah, exactly.
And that's separate it there. But you're right. It's still hard. It's still a difficult thing understanding variations. But it's a must. You have to. You can burn yourself if you don't understand that.
And a couple of items I have. I've kind of gotten to the I take the average sales a month now, and I divide it by how many variations there are, and I use that as my base point. So if there's 1,200 sales and there's 4 items, I base it off of that.
That's a way for you to definitely be targeting that. It's harder to target that, but when you find it, you're going to scale faster, like you've done. So yeah, you're really being picky on what how much return you're going to get in this beginning, and that's great. That's great that you're able to find those things. That's the big key. You've definitely maximized your opportunity. So 1 second, guys. I just gotta let my dogs out. Okay. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. So he's done really good so far.
And I'm back, guys.
All right. So we're talking about early on, you're being picky and all that. So you started with $300. Where did you go to source, and did you run into any roadblocks, issues trying to find items in the beginning?
Yeah, in the beginning, I realized that stores like Ross, TJ Maxx, like you're like, oh well, these are discount stores, right? They get the stuff that Walmart can't sell, and they're selling it for cheaper because they're getting it in a liquidation type fashion, right? They're getting pallets of stuff and they're selling it at discount price. I almost source nothing from those stores. Sierra, TJ Maxx, Ross, that most of them for me have been horrible. I've gotten some good deals there. I mean, probably overall I've spent, I don't know, $600 total in those stores. But
let me ask you real quick on those stores, because those are some of my favorite stores.
still,
Well, and that's the thing. That's the difference. The different sellers, different experiences. This is good. So, and your experience there, do you not find enough that you're approved to sell? Is that the issue?
in the
Or
beginning, yes, it was 100% like a big thing for me. And then and then as I went on and I got ungated in certain things, I got ungated in quite a few things automatically, because it seems like once I hit that 10K mark, like they started ungating me in way more stuff. And that's also like a big like unknown for new sellers, is like how long is it before you start getting ungated automatically between these things. And um as time went on, I got ungated and more. And my biggest thing was every single item I scanned, I tried to get ungated in. I didn't, if it didn't matter if I was buying it or not, if I could make money on it or not. I just applied to get ungated in it, because when I see a red on SAS, I'm just like, I get really, that's not something I spend a lot of time on. So
yeah,
the more I get ungated in, the more I'm looking at things and I'm keeping an eye on brands. It's big for me. The other thing with the local stores for me, for Ross, for TJ Maxx, those stores just they have quite a few items, but it just seems like they're hazmat. I was big into the cosmetics and the health and beauty. That's been a big hit for me. And either they're hazmat, which I'm not approved for yet, or they are what Amazon considers luxury beauty, which they're not even accepting applications for.
right.
And then I haven't even ventured down the clothes avenue. That hasn't even been a
That's
remotely.
why. There it is. There, that's what I was waiting on right there. You're not doing clothing. That's why those discount
Yeah,
stores are not popping for you.
yeah.
Because that's the
Ah,
80% of their inventory is in the apparel.
Yeah, yep. I
Okay.
breezed through there. I
where
don't
so
even
where did
look
you
at the
spend that?
clothing yet.
Where did you spend your $300 at?
I actually spent it at Walmart and Farm and Fleet were the two. So I don't know if you guys know what Farm and Fleet is, but it's basically like Tractor Supply or whatever.
Okay.
It's just a store that sells everything from horse stalls to candy, and then everywhere in between. So
Okay. So you found, and you're doing mostly all clearance, is what you're finding?
yeah, I have zero replens. I don't have any replenishables at this point. I to be honest, I don't even. I'm not very good at finding replenishables at this point.
No, and that's a whole different game right there. I mean, if
Yeah,
you're in the RA, if you're doing RA, then yeah, replenishables aren't necessarily your ball game right there.
yeah, and obviously at some point I want to branch into that. Like I don't want to be spending hundreds of dollars a month in a store and driving all around town. My job allows me to drive around town, so I can hit all of southeastern area where I live pretty much all the time. I mean, I drive 2 hours around town everywhere, so I can hit a lot of different stores. That helps me a lot because I'm a road tech. But if I ever venture down the avenue of a primary income, it just doesn't make sense for me to spend hundreds of dollars in gas a week driving around to these stores, and some of them might just be bust. I might drive to them for no reason, and then I just spent $30 driving to the store just to just to go home with $8 in profit. So
Yeah.
Do you
So
mind sharing, the categories you mostly focus on at the very beginning, so that someone just starting off, they kind of know what categories to focus on?
so I exclusively stayed away from health and beauty because it seemed like no matter what you went for in health and beauty, it was you just didn't. You either couldn't get ungated in it, you had to go through the 10 item uh to get ungated in it. There's very few health and beauty items that I could find that they would auto ungate me. So I stayed away from that. One of the biggest things that worked for me was housewares or home goods or kitchen supplies. Those were all big hits for me. I did pretty good in shoes in the beginning as well. I got some shoe brands. They weren't name brands like Nike or Adidas. They were more off brands that Amazon sold quite a bit of, and I bought those. Kid shoes were a big seller as well. It seems like those have higher returns, though. I'm noticing that as time goes on here.
Shoes are going to be a higher return period.
Yeah.
Did you have to apply for shoes, or were you auto approved for shoes?
In the beginning, in the first 6 weeks, I did not. I had to apply to. I didn't do any of the 10 item invoicing. I didn't send anything to Amazon to get ungated, and everything was either auto or I had to do that counterfeit questionnaire that they make you do 100 million times.
Right. Yeah. So eventually you got the shoes opened up for you then.
Yeah, no, pretty much right away, there was just certain brands that I got auto ungated in for shoes.
Okay.
And then toys were a big thing. There wasn't a lot of margin in toys, but I got ungated for it was random toys. I mean, some of them I was holding a Hasbro toy and I was holding another Hasbro toy, and for some reason they'd ungate me in this one, but not in this one. And it was really weird how they did it, but that's why I didn't care what it was. If it was an item, I scanned it, because how Amazon works is not everything is how it seems. So like I said, you could have two Hasbro items, and one you'd be able to sell and one you wouldn't unless you sent the 10 item invoice in. So that's why everything I scan. I mean, SAS has their entry level program, and that's what 1,000 items a month. And then you could do the higher end one where it allowed you to do more or unlimited. And within a week of me creating my SAS, I already had to upgrade because I had scanned so many items.
Yeah. And that's what I say, scan everything you can, every single thing you can in the beginning, and request for that auto approval. And it doesn't matter if it's the same brand. It doesn't matter if it's the same exact shirt in a different size. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter. Scan it and try to get it's a lot of work to try to get the auto approvals. You have to go through a ton of inventory to just start generating something. When you're a brand new seller, you have to prove yourself to Amazon that you're not just coming in and trying to cheat their customers with fake products or just whatever, not knowing what you're doing and messing up their customer relations.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
So
I've heard some people that they have success of just doing that, and they get out there and they scan enough and they get approved in enough brands or categories that they can start their path that way. And then, as you said, once you get more in sales and you're elevating your seller account rating and all that, then they'll approve you easier for other brands. But then, if you don't want to wait around, there are the other options of go ahead and getting ungated through the ungated process, which we share with whoever wants to know. So anytime anyone ever wants to know how to get ungated, we have a guide we can share for that.
So we're still talking about when you first started and you first started sourcing. When you first started sourcing, did you ever, I mean, how long did it take you to find your first item that you bought?
I would say 10 days, maybe a little bit more. I was very picky in the beginning. I wanted a BSR of 1 or even below 1. I wanted over 100% ROI. There was a couple items I found that were even 200% ROI. I wanted higher reviews, 4 5-star reviews with thousands of things. Very low sellers. I wouldn't even buy something that Amazon was on at all because I didn't even want to try and compete with them. And so I was very picky for the first 4 weeks. I would say in the first 4 weeks, I mean, I started with 300, then I got the credit card and I kind of went a little more in depth, and I started buying a couple more things. Target had a really big clearance thing going on around that time where they were marking stuff down to like 70% off. So I bought a lot of stuff in that because I got auto ungated in it. And then that allowed me to basically get more capital because I was buying, like I bought a knife for $7.99. It sold for $45 on Amazon. So I bought, I don't know, 25 of them, 30 of them. And that allowed me to sell more because I was getting more inventory and I was able to grow pretty quickly from there. But as time has gone on, I've kind of laxed some of my criteria. I don't shoot for that 200 ROI price tag anymore. That's just unrealistic for the long-term goal. Right now I have like 130 active SKUs. I got another 50 going there in the next day. So
Do
yeah,
you have a repricer since you have that many SKUs?
I do not. I do it all myself.
Okay.
It's part of that 50 hours right there.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I know that's one of the things I'm going to look into next is doing a repricer because I probably by early next week I'll have over 200 active SKUs and it's just getting to become too much in terms of keeping up. I know I'm losing money on a lot of these things because I can't constantly be checking every single SKU all day, especially with working, 40, 50 hours a week. I can't be on my phone 24/7.
yeah, absolutely. Now, do you have any advice for a new seller that maybe went sourcing for the first time and spent hours and didn't find anything and they get discouraged? Any advice for them?
My biggest advice would be try not to spend too much time in one store because the more time you spend in that one store, the more discouraged you're going to get. And that was my thing. I picked a Saturday and a Sunday to go out, and the first store I went to was TJ Maxx, and I scanned every item I could, and either I couldn't sell it or there was just no money in it, and I got discouraged. So then I went to Ross, and there was nothing, and then I went to Big Lots, and there was nothing, and then I think I ended up buying like that first day that I bought something, I probably spent $25, maybe 30 tops. And then I came home and I was discouraged. This isn't working how you think it is. And then the next day I went out. It was a Sunday morning, and I went out and I went to bigger box stores, the ones you don't think you're going to find stuff in, like Walmart and Target. And I ended up finding a ton of stuff. I found almost $250 worth of items, and it worked out really well. I was able to immediately have some a light at the end of that tunnel that allowed me to know that I was actually able to find this stuff, and it really paid off to just keep moving, never stay in one spot. And I know for replens, the big thing is to scan as many items as you want, right? You pick an aisle and you scan every item in that aisle, and you hope that you're going to find one by the end of the day. But when you're branching out clearance or discount stores, just keep moving. Don't focus on one spot. Don't focus on one thing. And then if you do notice like you're ungated in one item, scan every item in that category, because that's the biggest thing, is making sure that item, because one item might sell really well, one item might sell terribly, and you might skip right over it. And I still, even 3 months later now, or 2.5 months later, I still find items that I walk down a clearance aisle and I breeze over certain items. And then as I'm walking back, I always walk back down the other way. And when I'm walking back, I find 3 items that I would have completely missed if I wouldn't walk back through it.
Yeah, I did that in the beginning for a while, walked one way and then the other and double checked on everything.
Yeah,
you do that and then you get even more used to it. Oh, but wait a year from now, how you source it's totally different. Totally different. How you source.
It's funny how we all like our different stores. Like Jonathan hates Walmart. I love Walmart.
I'm not big. I don't love the big box stores very much. I like the discount stores. I like discount stores and outlet stores. Those are the things that I like. So,
and I haven't even ventured down outlet stores yet. That's next on my criteria. I'm hitting winter here, and it's pretty brutal. So I don't know how much outlet shopping I'm going to end up doing, because
that's a whole nother thing too that you got to train up on too, because there's certain rules that apply with that. So yeah, we can definitely have that discussion sometime. I'm pretty well versed in that area.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, you brought this up before, Cody, but let's, for the listeners, you work a full-time job, you got a long commute. How do you schedule Amazon into your week?
So in the beginning, me and my wife, we kind of had a discussion on what we were thinking would be the best role for this. And in the beginning, I was just kind of doing research on nights, weekends, whenever I had downtime, right? When I'm sitting there, when I used to sit there and just scroll through TikTok or Facebook or whatever. And when I started to venture down this avenue, I stopped doing that. And I started focusing more, all my downtime was focusing on research for this. And then after my first sale, I started spending a few more hours in the store. And so then it used to be, one day on the, during the week, one day on the weekend. And then it branched into 2 days during the week and 2 days on the weekend. And then it's scaled to the point where I'm doing it 6 days a week now, because it's returned so much so fast. I mean, last month I made almost $3,000 in profit. To be honest, that's incredible for somebody that's 2.5 months in. So
It really is. It really is.
That's awesome that you shared that with us. So what was your sales for last month to get that 3,000 profit?
10.5.
10.5.
So
10.5.
yeah.
How much cost of inventory was at Amazon to do that 10.5, would you say?
Oh,
I know
that
it's
I don't know an
changing.
exact figure.
Right.
So I would say it's hard to say. I would say in total inventory that I had sent, I probably have about 30,000 retail sent, 15 to 16 costs overall. I don't know exactly what my costs would be on that particular.
It'd be hard to get an average because you're scaling at such a fast level. So
that's my problem.
Yep. But what we've seen is, to do about 10,000 a month in sales, you need about $10,000 of inventory. And so you probably hit that, you're rolling at that time, but that's probably about the time you start sending in a bunch of inventory and hit that. So you did 10.5, $3,000 profit. I really want the group to hear that and the possibilities that are with
real person right here sitting in front of you saying
first item sold August 14th, right? So
August 14th. Yep.
And today is November 1st. And so really appreciate you sharing that with us, giving us your time so graciously. We
absolutely
appreciate it big time. Now, if you had to start over, and it wasn't that long ago that you started, but if you were starting over, is there anything that you might approach differently, or some advice for some of our members?
The biggest thing for me was that I spent so much time researching things that went nowhere, and things that bad advice I had. I conflicting advice. People were saying one thing and then they were saying another, and you didn't know what to believe. And then we kind of had this discussion earlier where I post a question on one of these forums or these Facebook groups, and then I get 14 different answers to a simple question that I'm asking, and it was just like, okay, well, are you just by yourself in this? Like, is everybody's goal just to misguide you because the more sellers there are, the more competition there is? And, you hear that Amazon's bringing in 3,500 sellers every single day, and I think the statistic is 90 or 95% of them fail within the first 2 months because they're just not good at what they do. And I've noticed that a lot of people, they're just looking for handouts, and they're not either looking to do the research on it, or they're not willing to pay to have somebody help them along the way, having a mentorship or having something. So I would say my biggest thing would be, if you don't have the time to do the research, to look into a mentorship that allows you to ask questions to people that are willing to give you answers that you're looking for, and that something you can bounce an idea off of or a question off of. Because I still don't have that. I still don't have anybody that I can directly ask, hey, I'm having this problem and how do I solve it? Because it's kind of like every man for themselves out there. And
What it can feel like, absolutely can feel that way. Yeah.
Wild West.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are a lot of sellers out there, devious sellers out there, and they don't, like you say, they don't want anybody coming in. They'll try to misguide people for sure. They even try to mess with listings when they run out, listings they created, and they run out of stock. They'll try and mess with the listing so it messes with other people,
Or
So
they'll send out threatening messages or something. I've gotten quite a few of those already.
yeah, the
Did-
fake, yeah, the fake,
In your inbox, you got fake messages. People wanting these.
Yeah, I've probably gotten 8 or 9 of them as of right now. Majority of them I just report. Though I only pulled off one item because it was an attorney that was reaching out, and he reached out through my email, not through Seller Central. So I eventually I figured if you had my email, then clearly you kind of knew something that you shouldn't have known. So
have you got any IP complaints or anything like that? Have you got any?
I've gotten 2. And both times I was able to overcome them.
Nice. How'd you do that?
I had the supporting documentation to prove to Amazon that they were authentic items, that I purchased them from a reputable place. Both of them were counterfeits without test buy.
Your supportive documents, was this an invoice or was it a receipt?
They were both receipts, and both of them were Walmart actually. And the nice thing about Walmart, the nice thing about Walmart, which I didn't know, and this is part of my research that I did, is that Walmart, if you purchase an item, it goes to it keeps, there's a log of it, and then you can actually pull up a digital version of your receipt as well as a pictured version of your invoice. And I've noticed with Amazon Seller Central support, you have to dumb everything down to as stupid as you can get it, because they breeze over stuff, and they're just like, well, that receipt says 3M tape and you have a 3M helmet up there, and they don't realize that the UPC matches. So the nice thing about Walmart is they actually put a picture on their receipt lookup. They actually put a picture next to it, so it matches. And I sent all 3 supporting documents. I sent my physical receipt, my electronic receipt, and then their picture invoice. And it got me approved immediately. I might have bigger issues with stores that don't have that stuff at this time, but as of right now, I think
if you can annotate, you take your pictures of your, like say you're going into a TJ Maxx and you're buying a shirt or something, and when you get back, before you send it off, you're taking your pictures of those items that you send off. So you take that, you take a picture of your receipt, you make sure you get the store tag, and on the receipt it'll have the tag number, so it'll match up on the receipt. And you can highlight that when you're sending it in, highlight both of them, and make it like, look at this right here, this is it. Don't look at anything else on the receipt, you don't need to see anything else. And then you have the pictures that go along with it, and everything matches, and generally you have good luck that way. So,
and that's what I've noticed as well. You have to give them, you basically have to play out your whole deck of cards in the beginning. Just give them everything you have. Do your research. Don't just respond in the first 30 seconds that you receive that email. Go in, figure out exactly everything you can cobble together and you can send to them, and just get it out of the way. And both times I never got a denial. Even once, they approved them immediately. So
nice.
Yeah, you do your research very well. So not a lot of people are capable of researching that well. Some people don't even like researching. So it's like you say, it is good to have someone you can ask if you don't like to do that work yourself.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And it would have saved me hundreds of hours by now to have that. I know a lot of it now, so I feel like some of it would be redundant, because a lot of the mentorships are for like the people that haven't started selling, or they're working on getting their first sale, or even their first 10 sales. And I mean, I've already had over 250 sales to date. I actually think I might have crossed 300. I haven't looked recently.
Yeah, you would be more interested there. You would fall in line to a scaling group, a scaling for sure, instead of a startup. But so to recap real quick, you started off with your $300. You went and you spent, what you said, about 250 of that at a Walmart when you started. Is that right?
I spent that across two big box stores, Farm and Fleet, which is
and you said you found luck with kitchen, right? Or home goods.
So my big three things in the beginning is I found a pair of pans. They were like cookie sheets. Um, then I found Brita pitchers, and I found smoke detectors. All of them, I bought them for so cheap, and I turned around and sold them for. I mean, I bought the smoke detector for $7.99. I sold them for $79.99 on Amazon, and it was crazy. I bought like six of them, and same thing with the cookie sheets. I bought them for I think $11, and I turned around and I sold them for $64.99. I actually still buy them to this day because I still find them occasionally on clearance. So
$300 turned into how much?
300. I'm sorry. What do you mean by that question?
That $300, you said you turned that 300 into how much did you turn it into?
Oh, I turned it into probably 700 within 4 days.
That's awesome. That's
4
awesome.
days,
So,
less than a week.
they sold immediately. Like I couldn't believe how fast those items sold, and nothing has sold that fast since then. Like I have a couple of hits that sell fairly quickly. I sell them within a couple of days, or even before they hit the warehouse, because Amazon does their lovely thing where they make it active before it actually gets there.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, I have to play around with repricing it.
And at that point, you were already using SellerAmp to.
I started using SellerAmp on day one.
Okay.
So that was the first item I scanned was what
it's huge. It's so big.
It's so it is. It is 100%. Like, and setting your parameters too, like making sure that you have that stuff, because those green boxes mean a lot, and it makes you not have to do so much. I mean, that I don't know what they use, if it's AI or if it's just an algorithm or whatever that's doing.
Yeah, they scrape Amazon
backend
data and then a lot of Keepa data. They use the Keepa data for a lot of it, but no, they're scraping live data for pricing information and seller information and things like that. So,
which is frustrating too, because a lot of stores you have terrible Wi-Fi, and then or terrible cell service, and then the Wi-Fi is a hit or miss. You walk to one side of the store and it's great, and then
you get a store with a metal roof. It's real tough.
Do you know your average ROI?
Or currently I'm probably sitting at about 110%.
Nice.
Very good.
I don't see that
on SAS. What's your criteria set at?
My criteria is 35.
35.
So anything over 35, I know that's my minimum now. In the beginning it was 65, and I dropped it down to 35. Now I typically don't buy stuff at 35% right now, unless there's a lot of that item. If I'm staring at 25 or 30 of the items, or maybe a little bit less if it's a profitable item. But like, I won't buy an item in the store if there's two of them and I'm only making $4 on, because it's not worth my time at this point. If I'm buying something that I'm making $4 on, but I can buy 10 of them, to me that's a profitable item. That's making my hour great, right? If I'm making $4 on an item, I can buy 10 of them. I mean, I made $40 in that 6 minutes it took me to do my little bit of research in the store, and then just move on.
And okay, so how long were you in before you decided to go through the ungating process for something?
I was about 6 weeks until I actually made my first inventory purchase, or my first bulk purchase online, and I actually lost money on them because you can't really get bulk items, especially since I don't do online arbitrage. I can't really. I have to buy stuff that I'm gonna lose money on, because
you're basically paying to get ungated for that.
Yeah. Exactly, yes, and so I find the cheapest item I can find. Like, I got ungated in Hasbro, so I bought these Uno cards. I spent like $46 from Target, but I got 10 of them. I sent the invoice in, they approved it. I'm going to lose probably $50, $60 on the whole deal, but that's fine because Amazon actually sells them for cheaper than Target.
Yeah. So the invoice on Target, it's in the back office, right? It's in your account when you go into the order, and then that did work for you. That's awesome. Good information.
Yeah, Target's worked for me. Kohl's has worked for me. Those are the two primary ones that I've used, Target and Kohl's, and both of them. The hardest one for me was Nike. Nike took almost 3 weeks to get approval. I actually had to send it in 3 times.
Yeah.
But almost every other one, I've gotten an approval within 5 minutes of me sending it in.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations on the
Yeah, you're hitting
success,
it right,
man.
man. You're doing a good job. Very, very good job. And you know, all of that research really paid off for you. I know it was a lot, it's a ton, you know, ton of research you've done, and it's paid off really well, man. Good job.
What's
Yeah.
your goals from here?
My goal right now, I'd like to hit 50K by the end of this year in sales. That's a lofty goal, but I have enough inventory being sent in right now. My biggest problem right now is I can't scale fast enough. I'm running into a problem that I don't have the time and the resources to keep going. And I wanted to get to the 2 shipments a day or 2 shipments a week, and I don't have that kind of time right now. My kids are in sports. We're going into the holiday season. It's
Yeah.
it's gotten worse, especially with traffic. I mean, we had an ice storm last night, and I had a 2 hour commute to work this morning. It was only supposed to be 50 minutes, so it's
The
it's gotten
wrenches that get thrown in from day to day can be tough.
exactly.
For sure.
So yeah, my goal is 50K by the end of this year. I doubt I'm gonna hit it. I might hit it. I'm probably gonna hit 40. There's if I can find some real winners, which I have a couple that I'm ready to go on, but
And
I
that's
think I could
total.
hit 40 or
Okay.
50K. My goal by next year at this time is to be my primary source of income.
Nice.
There you go. There you go. That is
I
awesome.
think you're on a good start for that, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We've taken a lot of your time, and again, I can't thank you enough. But congratulations on the success. Now, you talked about trying to free up your time. You don't have any other software but SAS. So it's still SAS. That's the only thing you have. It's you don't have.
I use that, and I use Seller Board. Seller Board is how I just keep track of my profits and my ROIs because I have too many SKUs. I can't keep up on
Is
it.
that an inventory based software?
Yeah. So basically it integrates directly with Seller Central. It allows me to it inputs all of my SKUs directly from Seller Central once they go in transit, and then I just put my my cost of goods on there, and then it keeps track of it. I can put all of my expenses in there for all of my paid services. Um, between my accounting software, between I have a domain because I created my own email address because I know that's important for especially creating wholesale accounts. Um, and then paying for like Amazon premium service or pro service. So you can put all that stuff in there, so it kind of keeps a real live track. So like my gross my net last month was about 3, but my gross was in the probably 25-2600 range.
Very nice. So we
But
started
yeah,
in July, and from July to December, I did 38,000, and
okay,
made right around 6,000 in profit. This is 8 years ago. That's 8 years
yeah.
ago. So I mean, you've done very well. Very impressive. Very impressive. Um, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we hope that you hit those goals. We hope that you blow them away, and anything that we can help answer, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You
Love to
jumped
help
on
you.
here, and the main reason when I reached out to you, we want to help sellers. We want to help new sellers find their path. If this is something they like, not everyone likes it once they get into it. We know that. But if we can help you find that path, you enjoy it. We want to help people succeed. And I found you in the group and saw your success story. Say, hey, bring you in. Let's let your mouth run to people who are trying to do the same exact thing, and they can really align with, hey, this is a real possibility for me. So
Yeah,
that's awesome. I really appreciate you. Anything, of course, I could help you out with.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a feeling we'll be in contact for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
You're on a good path, man. Keep it up. Keep it up. Your
Well, thank
wife,
you
if she
again.
does get tired of you talking about Amazon ever, just that's okay. It happens. But
Yeah.
just know they probably won't so much if you're doing what you're doing right now. They probably will let you say whatever you want to as long as you're
Well,
making.
that's how it was in the beginning. I would bring it up and I talk to her about it, and she'd just go, yeah, yeah. And now it's just like, I think I'm at like $450 in sales today, and um, it's something that like she can't even believe how fast it's grown and how fast I've scaled it, because you're not supposed to do it this quickly. And it's
Right.
I've noticed that just from that one post is that majority of people are just like, that's not really something you should expect. And I actually sent her a picture today from somebody, and they posted that they just hit their 1 year mark and they had 4,200 in sales, and they were super proud of themselves. And I don't disagree. They should be proud, but
Yeah.
that's a more realistic thing, like seeing those things. And I mean, I'm on pace to do, 30,000 within, you know, almost 3.5 months, which is insane. I mean, I never thought ever that I was going to grow this quickly.
Well, the
Yeah.
I was
biggest
expecting to hit.
variable, I'm sorry, the biggest variable is how fast do you pick up on finding inventory? That's the biggest hurdle. And that's why several of our questions was based on that. It's like, how many times did you go and not buy anything? How many times, what was your criteria in the beginning? How did you get over not being ungated? Because, you can talk yourself, people can come up with excuses for anything. I can come up with excuses on why I'm not, successful in certain things. It's you got to push, you got to push through that. But the sooner you learn how to find profitable, fast moving items, and it also depends on how much capital you're starting off with,
Mm.
And I tell people, between $500 and $2,000. In fact, I don't recommend starting with more than $2,000 until you got a grasp of it. Once
Oh
you have
yeah.
a grasp of it, then go for it. Absolutely. When those things sell within 4 days, okay, you got a handle on it. Go find some
Mm-hmm.
more of those items. But yeah, that's unfortunately, you mentioned earlier 3,500 people coming to Amazon, new Amazon sellers, but 90% of them are failing. I think it's a higher number than that, because they'll go
I would
through
agree.
one time and they're done. And as far as too much competition, I mean, since we started in 2015, it's doubled or tripled in sales every year, each year. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I've seen those charts. So there's no way there's too much competition. There's so much.
I 100% agree. I don't think there's enough competition. I go on listings and there's no sellers on them, or there's one or two. They're selling thousands of them a month, and there's only 200 or 300 inventory items on there. And then Amazon, recommends their products to you based off of what you sold, and they want you to send in hundreds of items. And there's items like I wouldn't even think of, like one of them was like this Delta faucet aerating adapter or whatever. And I looked it up, and it sells like 400 of them a month, and there's like 3 sellers on it. And you don't even think about that stuff. Like everybody's like, oh, well, I want to go find, like a pair of Skull Candy headphones, or I want to go find, a KitchenAid blender or whatever, stuff that they think sells a lot and that it's going to make them a ton of money. And they don't focus on the small stuff. They don't focus on the stuff that people overlook. And that's been the biggest, success for me is looking for through the stuff that nobody really focuses on, right? Keeping an
It's
eye
a,
out for those items.
yep.
I remember one of my first items that I found a crazy amount of in the beginning was on clearance at Home Depot. It was a little vacuum cleaner filter. Didn't know what
Yeah,
it was when
exactly.
I first saw it, man. And I would go to it was a vacuum cleaner filter, also ice maker filters, which they kind of banned that on Amazon now. You can't really do ice maker filters. But I went to I don't know how many different Home Depots, man. Got a couple hundred of them things, man, and it was
Mm-hmm.
great. Okay, 7:04, man. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry for keeping you here this long. Do you have time for
Oh no,
one?
you're fine.
We got one question, if you don't mind answering it. Amani asked, how did you ask Target for an invoice? Is it in the store or through calling a certain number? So if you wouldn't mind going through the process of ordering from Target and what you did.
Well, so the biggest thing, obviously, with ungating is you have to have your seller address and your seller central business name on that invoice. That's crucial. And when I actually placed my first order through Kohl's specifically, and they actually canceled it because I placed an order for 10 items, and they canceled it because they thought I'm assuming doing exactly what I was doing, right? but for Target specifically, I mean, it's fairly easy if you order it through their website. Once the item is delivered, they give you a sales invoice right on their portal, right through their website. And then I have a 4x6 shipping printer, which allows me to print that invoice directly to it, so it looks like it came from Target. My computer reformats it to the right size, and I snap a picture of that. I snap a picture of the UPC for the item, and then a picture of the overall items that I have 10 or 12 or 15 of them in front of me. I send all three of those because you're only allowed to send 3 pictures, and they approve me immediately. So
Awesome.
or within 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes it takes longer for sure, but
oh yeah, no, Nike took me almost 3 weeks. I actually didn't even think I was getting approved for it because I had to resubmit it twice, and Seller Central doesn't help at all with it. They're just
depends
like,
on
well,
the
that's a
rep
special.
yeah, depends on the rep that comes across of it. And the easier, like we said, the easier you can make it for them to read what you want them to read, and basically point it all out for them, like like you're teaching a kindergartner.
Yeah, exactly. You have to make it as simple as you can. Do not overcomplicate it. Write in your description. Just picture like you're not talking to somebody that speaks English, because that's exactly how you got to make it. Just put in the shortest words possible, the simplest pictures possible that show exactly what you want. And if you're placing an order to get ungated, make sure there's not a ton of stuff on that invoice that are not for that ungating purpose, because they're just going to get lost in the two. They need to see a picture of the whole invoice, and if you have 7 items on there because you wanted to make it a one-stop shop, and it's just going to complicate things, and it's probably going to be harder for you.
Good tip.
Excellent.
Good tip. Very much.
All right. Well, I don't have any other questions, Jonathan.
No, I've covered a lot. Yeah, we used a lot of your time. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, we told you
I appreciate you guys having
for
me.
30 minutes.
It never works that way for us. We talk too much.
I told my wife this was going to be an hour-long process, so we're actually ahead of schedule here. So
yeah. Well, again, thank you, man. You're a walking testimony and of what's possible, and thank you for sharing your story so that the members here can see that what we kind of go through is, hey, let's show you how you make your first 500. Okay, let's show you how you make your first 2,000. Okay, now let's get up to 10,000. I think people don't realize exactly how much inventory you have to have, but at the same time, I don't think they realize how fast they can scale that inventory if they're not paying themselves in the beginning.
I haven't taken a dime from my business, and I don't plan on taking it until I have quite a bit more. So
what do you see, where do you want to be on a monthly basis? In order for you to walk away from your full-time job, where do you think you might need to be on a monthly basis?
I want to be probably over 8,000 a month in profit.
8,000 in profit. Okay.
Yeah. That'll get me. I mean, I don't make that now in my normal job. So for me to get to that point, that allows me to cover a lot of stuff, that allows me to give me that financial freedom that I'm looking for. Because right now, I mean, I have a good paying job, right? I'm not going to leave a good paying job for the same money when I want to get to that point where I'm making more money, and it makes more sense for me to keep growing the business. And I want to get to the point where I have enough going that I physically can't do it with another 9 to 5. I want to do it where I have enough financial freedom from Amazon that makes me feel comfortable, because I've been at my job for 10 years, and for me to just up and leave for something I've been doing for 9 months, to me it has to make sense. It has to be there just has to be enough money there for it to come down to it.
It's awesome. So, well, what's even cooler and what you'll experience is with the more experience that you get, and when you get to that level, you can leave that full-time job, you'll actually be working a lot less hours and make more money.
That's what I've noticed already. Like, I mean, I put in so many hours a week right now because I'm trying to scale it so fast. And I know at a certain point that I'm going to scale to the point where I don't necessarily need to keep growing. And I'm going to be able to plateau. And then if down the line, like, hey, we're like, hey, let's make, instead of 9,000 a month. Let's make it 18. Then I bring my wife in, I get my kids involved, then we can kind of continue to grow from there. But I want to just be in a comfortable position and give myself that ability to do what I want. And then once I'm done with that, then we start looking into warehouses. And I doubt I'm ever going to venture down the avenue of a prep center. That, to me, that just seems like too many unknowns, like your experiences as well. That seems like it seems like a hit or miss across the board. And especially if I'm going to make it my primary source, for me to leave those big things in somebody else's hands, to me, it's just not something I'm comfortable doing.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's if you can and you're wanting to save that time, you just train your own employee for that, and you have someone do that instead of doing a prep center. It's your person that you train.
Exactly, and that's probably what I might do. I might bring in a family member or a friend, and bring them in and say, hey, I'll make it good for you. Just don't screw it up for me.
Exactly. So, right on, man. Right on. Awesome.
Well, thanks again, and we wish you the best of luck in hitting all your goals. And like Jonathan said, I'm sure we'll be in touch. And
I plan to stay in touch with you, bud, for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. So it's good. I like we discussed in the beginning, like there's not enough people out there that show a real life experience, and I wish I had more negative to say, because a lot of my stories have been a success story, and it's been definitely something that I know a lot of people are hoping they get into Amazon to do. And I've grown so fast that I feel like it's almost like a fairy tale at this point. And I know other people can do it too. They just have to have the right mindset and the right people to discuss it with.
Absolutely.
Good words.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in this week. We'll see you next Wednesday. If this is something that you're interested in, if you said, man, I think I can do a full-time e-commerce business, I think I can make an nice extra income stream, or even replacement income, be your own boss, leave your 9 to 5, whatever it may be, man, send us a message. Jonathan and I are open book, and we share freely. So it's worth getting on a call. If you want to discuss it further and see if there's ways that we could possibly help you get there, we would love to do that. Cody, thanks again. And man, hopefully it's not too cold up there. And did we see, wait a minute, I got to bring this up before we leave. What sports do you follow?
Primarily football.
Who's your team?
Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, I thought so. So we're
obviously
playing you this week.
you know where we're from, right? I mean, we're from Texas. I have a Texas Rangers shirt on right now. Obviously, we're playing for the World Series win right now. We're playing for it tonight, baby. So we'll get that. But obviously, I was born in Dallas, Texas. You know who I am. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan through and through. So
we're not going to talk on Sunday, I guess.
If this doesn't say it, though, I mean, even right now, we're still going to be okay with each other. A Philadelphia fan and a Dallas fan can come together over something like Amazon and create good things. Just know that. Even if we may sports hate each other a little bit, it's okay, because in real life, hey, we are all here to help each other. We're out to help anyone we can. And, we genuinely like seeing people succeed, even if you root for the Philadelphia Eagles.
We're still number one.
And then, right now, hey, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun this weekend. You never know what's going to happen. That's going to be.
No, you don't know, especially when it's a rivalry game, because.
Oh yeah.
Philadelphia and Cowboys is always. I mean, last year was 1-1 between us, so I have no doubt it's going to be the same this year. Your guys' biggest issue is getting over your quarterback.
It's tough. It's I love Dak. Dak's an awesome guy. He's a great person, and he's a good leader. But he still has to prove some things for sure. We have, I love defense, and our defense is rocking. Y'all have a great defense right now too. So
I'm just hoping my offensive line can stop yours. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to see it. That's going to be a true test. I got a hard schedule ahead of me, so Cowboys are the first stop on the way. I play the Bills, the Chiefs, the Dolphins. So if I make it to the end, I'm the real deal. So
There you go, man. Well, hey, I'm glad that even though we got something like that, we can come together for sure. So,
yeah, we'll just talk on Monday. We'll keep Sunday on to be quick.
Sounds,
yeah, that's fine. Hey,
all right, we'll do that.
I
All right,
love
guys.
talking about it either way it goes, to be honest with you. So,
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah,
all
different
right,
insight,
guys.
you know. So
All
Yes,
right.
glad
Well,
you
thanks.
brought that up. That's funny.
All right, I guess we better jump off and we'll keep talking. Great
All right.
talking to you, Cody. Thank you.
all right,
Bye next week.
Talk
All right. Take care.
bye guys.
Bye.